Hey guys, how's it going? We're at the Via Aquarium and check this guy out. Look at that. Now what do we got here?
So this is a carpet python. They're found on the east coast of Australia, also found in West Papua or Papua New Guinea. They grow on average usually 6 to 9 feet. Males only get around 6 feet, females get around 8 to 9 feet. But there is one species called the coastal carpet pythons. They get around 9 to 12 feet, so they're like the exception to the species. They get the name because of the patterning. It looks like an oriental rug. All right. So usually they have a nice blend of coloration and counter shading that helps them blend in with the tree lines, and the perfect camouflage when they're ambush predators. So they actually will hang from a tree and wait for birds to fly by, and they'll snatch them. So they'll grab like parrots, like cockatoos, and kookaburras, or even like magpies that are found in Australia. So right now he can eat something that's about almost a foot long, and I feed him frozen thawed rats.
All right.
Yeah.
Like the medium or what size?
Medium to large.
Okay.
I only feed him about once a month just to control his metabolism, so he's not overeating and getting fatty liver disease.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of people want them to get bigger, their snakes, so they feed them more thinking they'll get bigger when it actually makes it obese more than anything.
Yeah, so that's a form of power feeding. Usually breeders do that, but there is a con to it. Usually you shorten the animal's lifespan, especially if you're breeding females and you're power feeding them. If they're producing so many clutches a year, they end up shortening their lifespan. They don't live as long. On average, they live around 20 to 25 years, sometimes 30 years in captivity. Sadly, this species, they're not imported in the United States anymore. They actually passed a ban in 1991 or early 1990s.
The exotic pet ban, right?
Yep, in Australia. So Australia is only allowed to keep native reptiles in their collection, except for zoos. They have a special permitting, so they actually sometimes have species native to North America, like American alligators, or sometimes Burmese pythons at their zoos, but everything else has to be native. So carpet pythons, all the monitor species you find here in the United States come from a bloodline from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then in the 90s, the ban was passed, so the bloodline is kind of auto-capping at this point. So you don't really see all the crazy Australian reptiles as you saw like back in the day. And it's like even really rare to see like a Timor's monitor once in a while. And there's some larger monitors. So the ones you usually see on the pet show are like Ackie monitors from the Australian species. And I actually have a bearded dragon. She just jumped off.
Oh, so, cool. This is really awesome, guys. Check out this guy.
So this is probably a central bearded dragon with her bloodline. She's a rescue, so sometimes the centrals and easterns are mixed in the pet trade, just to keep the bloodline kind of flowing a little bit, so there's not too much inbreeding. But I'm pretty sure she's a central bearded dragon, and they're one of the largest species found in Australia. There's about 8 to 9 different species recognized in Australia of bearded dragons, and the only ones you find in the United States are the Rackens dragons and the centrals. And then really, really rarely you'll see a purebred eastern bearded dragon, but I haven't seen one ever in the trade or in someone's collection. This is a female. Usually on average they get around 18 inches and a male about 24 inches, but sadly she's stunted and broke, so she's only about a foot long and she's 5 years old. Their lifespan is about 10 to 15 years. And then having such a short lifespan and not really good genetics, maybe you get one for like 10 to 12 years if you're lucky. So hopefully she's here for another 5 years and she's doing better compared to when we first got her. Her name is Izzy, and this is Zeus over here. He's also a rescue we got from an organization that takes a lot of exotic reptiles.
And what do you got in here?
Oh, so that's a vinegeroon. Hold it in my hands like this. One second, let me just loosen this snake off my arm. So I got 2 free hands.
They don't sting or anything?
Nope, so they're non-venomous. You can see they have that whip tail at the end, and they spray acetic acid, which is the pH of vinegar. So what they do, they ward off predators. They'll shake that tail almost like a real scorpion tail, and they'll spray it out, and that's to ward off predators. You find this larger species found in North America, but they're also found species in Central and South America and Southeast Asia. This is a female, and you can tell females have usually these short stubby claws, and males have longer claws because they'll do a mating dance. They actually will grab the modified legs you see right there that's touching me. Those are like walking sticks. They have 8 eyes around their head, but they can't see too well, so they'll spend most of their time underground. And at night they're nocturnal, so they'll hunt and they'll use those legs to kind of find their prey in the dark.
Now that's not in this arachnid family, is it?
Oh yeah, so it is in the arachnid family. So they do have the head section and then the abdomen. And the thorax and the abdomen are fused in just like with other spiders and scorpions. It's just that it doesn't have that stinging tail. So it's one of the few species or groups of arachnids that's not harmful.
Man, I bet you a lot of people have a really hard time when they wake up in the middle of the night and see one of them on a bedpost.
So you have to like live out in the Everglades and be in the swamp or a really moist area. They like a high humidity of 90%. So they like where it's nice and moist. So they won't really likely be in your house because it's too dry for them.
How long do they live?
So that's a kind of a little bit of mystery. We know around 7+ years. Now, when a female mates with the male, they actually almost like an octopus, so bury themselves underground.
All right.
They'll protect the egg sac under their abdomen, and then usually the female dies after just protecting the eggs. So usually they reach maturity around 7 years.
All right.
The males kind of slowly die after a while too. So it's kind of hard to say. Yep. She did lay egg sac and she ate it 1 year because usually their mating season's around late fall. And the temperatures dropped around 65 and she ended up producing without a male.
Oh, all right.
I thought maybe by accident she was with a male one week before we got her. She was fertilized. They can hold sperm for about a year, which is pretty crazy. Same thing for snakes and some other like old evolutionary animals. Usually a female can store the sperm, doesn't have to ovulate and actually fertilize those eggs. So I thought maybe she fertilized it and I didn't know. But end up she ate the eggs and she's gonna be here for hopefully another couple more years. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Yeah. That's awesome. And what's your name?
Oh, Randy.
I'm Ben.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
We have one more animal over there.
Awesome. Is this awesome or what?
So this is a Redfoot tortoise. So this is a Chilean that's found in South America. She's not full grown yet. So a female like her can get about a foot long and about 2 to 3 inches wide. So a male can get about 2 feet by 10 inches wide. You find them in Guyana, Colombia, and Brazil. They get the name because of the red spots on their feet. There's also the yellowfoot tortoise, but they're usually definitely different apart because the yellowfoots have more yellow on the shell, and of course that's the yellow feet. There's also a cherryhead, and that's just a locality of redfoots. So it's not really distinct to species. It's just a locality, and then they selectively breed them for more that cherry head. They usually have nice reds on the head, but typical, this is like a normal redfoot tortoise.
Awesome.
Yeah, there is a island in Guyana where the redfoots actually get massive. Yeah. So there are some Guyana bloodlines in the United States, and there's someone I know that does education. She has a full-grown female that's the size of a male.
Holy.
So about 2 feet by 10 inches wide.
Wow.
And she is massive. So hopefully she's not in a Guyana bloodline. Hopefully it's just the inland, like Brazilian or Colombian. So not too big. And they're an omnivore too, which is really unique. So they're not a straight herbivore. They actually will eat other animals they find in the wild. So they will eat mice, bird eggs that fall from the trees, baby birds, insects. Today she got some crickets, pumpkin, and blueberries in her diet. So she had kind of a meal for her.
Ate better than I did today.
Yeah. This fence is kind of for her protection from like people, and also for her trying to wander around. Yeah. These guys are very curious. They'll kind of wander around and start chewing on things. So I want to make sure that she's not like eating people's toes or shoes, because they kind of chomp a little bit.
Now I heard a story that was going around Facebook years back that like someone when they were younger had a pet tortoise. They got loose and they thought it died, but they cleaned out a room in the house. It was like full of everything. And they found the tortoise, and it had been like 20 years or so, or some crazy amount of time.
Yeah, it was a 30-year span.
Yeah,
so
do you think that's possible?
Yeah, no, it was a true story. It was published in Brazil, and then they translated to English for the United States.
All right.
That happened like a little over a year ago. So it was a family, they bought a baby redfoot since they're native to the country. They got it for their kids, and the kids weren't watching it, and then they're doing renovations on their house. The tortoise escaped. They thought, oh, it just wandered back off into the jungle where they usually would find redfoot, so no big deal. The kids grown up, and they left the family's house, so it's just the wife and the husband. The husband sadly passed away, and the kids were going back home to help their mom out clean up the house because it was just kind of cluttery. It wasn't really up, it wasn't really kept well. They had this special area in the back where they kept old furniture that dad just never thrown out, and they were cleaning it up, and a neighbor noticed that they saw a tortoise go in and out of the storage area, and it was moving around. They were wondering like they're going to throw the tortoise away. They're like, no. They go in there, and as the tortoise end up getting locked up in the storage area and just been wandering around. They never just noticed it. And the thing was eating termites, so all the furniture back there was infected with termites and insects. Yeah. And the tortoise was just eating that. Wow. It was. I thought the picture when they found it was going to be like a creepy, freakish ninja turtle, but It was just really pale because they never got that proper UV, and the shell was a little bit wonky, almost had almost pyramiding, but it was still a healthy retro tortoise, and the family's still keeping it. These guys can live over 50 years.
Holy cow.
Reptile breeders for redwoods say about 50 to 90 years is a lifespan for a redwood tortoise. But if it was just like a novice keeper, you might get it alive for 30 plus years, and then that was a freak story.
Wow.
So it does happen where tortoises just disappear from someone's house and then just randomly show up.
Huh, that's awesome.
It happens in Florida all the time. People have like sulcatas or redwoods, and they're gone for decades, and then they just show up randomly either in someone else's backyard or somewhere in a different part of Florida. So you get strange stories like that. But she's not going to get that far. She's pretty slow.
Yeah. All right, well, it was nice talking with you.
Nice meeting you.
Have a great day.
Oh, you too. Oh, what's the name of your channel? So I can
One second, actually. Let me, I got a couple cards in my wallet. Here you go.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Check it out.
All right. All right, guys. Catch you later. This was awesome, huh? What do you think about that? Look at that snake. Ain't she a beaut? All right, guys. I don't know about you, but that was exciting and awesome.